I love animation. I love animation. And although I grew up with cartoons like any other kid, during the golden age, some would say, my admiration didn't kick into gear till much later. You know, as far as actually respecting the dedication and hard work put into these priceless creations. As far as I was concerned, these guys were gods. When I was a kid, it was people like Hanna and Barbera, Don Bluth, and Max Fleischer especially. And when I got older, it was the works of people like Mike Judge, Sylvain Chomet, and especially dudes like Bill Plimpton. But perhaps the one single animator that made a heavy and lasting influence on me in those early years was none other than the immortal Ralph Bakshi. I think it was seeing Lord of the Rings and Gulliver's Travels as a kid and just being completely mesmerized by the rotoscoped animation. I mean, I really like Fritz the Cat, and, it was more surreal stuff also, but the mixture of oddity with rotoscoping, I just love it, which is probably why I was drawn to Max Fleischer as well. It just makes sense to me. So naturally, I kept a close eye on anything Bakshi as a kid, my first X-rated picture being animated. And I adored American Pop, even though I was far too young to really get it. And Wizards might be my top favorite. And of course, watching Cool World kinda made a man out of me. I'm sure others can agree. And with that film, we got to see Bakshi spend some more real time off the animation cell and focus on live action film. Even more so than in his previous works. And, Cool World had a more traditional narrative, so to speak, and I for one thought it worked flawlessly here. There are some pretty cool things going on in the uncool practical world. Kinda hard to tell if Bakshi was out of his comfort zone here, I don't know. And, I always wondered if Ralph Bakshi had ambitions to one day do a full live-action feature. But I mean, why would he? He's Ralph Bakshi. And if he did, well, I'm sure it would be yet another astonishingly original tale done in classic Bakshi style, and not just, a TV movie live-action remake of a forgotten 50s teen rebel flick. I mean, why would he? He's Ralph Bakshi.
This is the TV Wasteland.
Okay, let's backtrack just a bit. To get the full scoop on Ralph Bakshi, I recommend a few other videos. I'll post them down in the comments. But for the uninformed, he is one of the most innovative animators to have ever existed and pushed any envelopes he was able to in his career, basically spearheading the indie animation movement. And while he hasn't quite gotten the deserved reward for his hard work, he is highly revered by animators of all kinds. And without him, we would all be completely lost. So when I said earlier how I wondered if Bakshi ever intended on making a feature-length live-action film, well, yes indeed he did. Bakshi had a film script he was pushing even before he made it big, so to speak, a campy thriller in the vein of films he grew up with called When I Catch Her, I'll Kill Her. And of course, the film was seen as too risky in the beginning of his career, so he decided to do some clean family classics. But Bakshi would still try to get the film made here and there throughout the years. And it wouldn't be until Bakshi got his feet wet with Cool World that, albeit, with yet another script revision, did his film finally get produced. But with Bakshi's film finally getting the green light, there were a few catches. In 1993, Lou Arkoff, the son of legendary Samuel Z. Arkoff, was producing Showtime's Rebel Highway series, along with Deborah Hill, which featured modern-day remakes or reimagining of 50s teen rebel and rock and roll movies, all featuring both well-known and cult directors, and also featuring a young, hip, up-and-coming cast. What an idea, goddamn. And the series would feature some great talent behind the screen aside from Bakshi. Some of them pretty big names. Robert Rodriguez, William Friedkin, Joe Dante, Mary Lambert, Alan Arkish, and Timothy McNaughton of Henry fame. A lot of these directors being Oscar winners or nominees. Arkoff remembered Bakshi's script being in the same genre and such, so they approached Bakshi to take part of the project. So for the third time, he revised his screenplay for If I Catch Her, I'll Kill Her, which had to be retitled The Cool and the Crazy to fit along with the 50s remake theme. You know, since there was a film with that same title in 1958. And that's literally all they have in common, which is also kind of a theme here with the series. Nearly none of these movies have anything to do with the originals.
Tuesday nights, it's the return of Rebel Highway. A Showtime original movie series where 50s cool has a 90s edge. And some of today's hottest stars have their rowdy roots. You saw them there first, before they became famous.
That music is turning the kids into a bunch of sex-hungry, beer-drinking, road-racing werewolves.
The Cool and the Crazy aired September 16th, 1994, and starred Jared Leto, Alicia Silverstone, John Hawkes, and Matthew Flint. Reviewer Todd Everett noted that the film had the same hyperdrive visual sense of Bakshi's animated films. He said, "Everything in Cool seems to exist in pastels, and Bakshi shoots for more odd angles than any other director since Sidney J. Furie in his heyday. And the closing sequences demonstrate how it's possible to present a strong, violent ending without there being much blood on screen. Bakshi pulls strong performances from a cadre of youngish and largely unknown actors." Good review. So while Bakshi finally got his film made, it was part of an obscure TV miniseries. And his film would now be known forever as a remake. And to be honest, these films have a real fast-paced, rent-a-crew style going on, and I think a first-time director like Bakshi really needed some pros around for assistance. You know, a lot of the scenes here just kind of blocked poorly and linger too long or linger in shadows and such. Look here, you'll see what I mean. And I imagine any casual filmgoer would have a hard time finishing this. It can be kind of a chore to finish at times and could have really benefited from some tighter edits. But you know, all that being said, it is still a very enjoyable film all around to people like me. It's so cool to see Bakshi play in this space. This very real, uncool world at times. The film tells the story of a young couple in the 50s trying to get by and deal with infidelities and violence. From some local thugs, of course. And we get a lot of Bakshi-esque stuff going on here, especially with the gang of miscreants. You know, these guys are basically taken straight out of one of Bakshi's animated dark alleys. Damn, you know, how cool would it have been if the bad guys here were the only animations in the film? Man, he should go back and do that somehow. It would change the entire plot of this movie, really. His wife cheating on him with some murderous cartoons? My idea. Copyright 2020, Eaglebauer Industries. And as usual, Jared Leto is doing his thing here, and he's pretty good, this being his first TV movie. As for Alicia Silverstone, John Hawkes lights up the screen at every turn as usual, much like he did in my favorite of the series, Road Racers. And hey, is that Hubs? While the film is a bit of a chore to sit through, I admit, for any fan of Bakshi's, it's a must-see, as it plays out as an almost surreal take on the genre, taking Bakshi liberties when it can, existing in a very real and somber, yet explosively violent and unpredictable landscape.
No way to speak to me, huh? Not here, not in front of my friends.
That's no way to speak to a lady.
I'll be damned. What do we have here? Couple pretty boys.
Give you boys a run start.
One that can only be properly curated by none other than the man himself, the badass, the legend, Ralph Bakshi. I will eventually be getting through the entire Rebel Highway series here on TV Wasteland. Subscribe and stay tuned.
This is the TV Wasteland.
Be sure to subscribe.